A very cold day, and for Washington DC we'll be struggling to around 5. Now a bit further south, and here for some of us there's big news because it does appear to be stopping raining. From Nicaragua down to Panama, it's been very, very wet over the past couple of days, but now the clouds are beginning to ease a little bit. Not for Colombia though. Here it's still going to be incredibly wet, and there is still the risk of seeing some localised flooding. Up towards Europe, and here for most of us it's quite quiet, but it is now getting a little bit milder, so higher than we have been in Moscow, up to around -5 degrees I think for Thursday, and for London up to around 9. The wet weather though, that's still across the Mediterranean. It's very wet for many of us at the moment, but it is moving away from Algeria and Tunisia, so here it should be a bit drier.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
The relocation of the Ahmadiyya has magnified the issue of religious intolerance in Indonesia. Is this inevitable in a multicultural society? And is the government turning a blind eye?
101 East at this time on Al Jazeera.
A debilitating condition afflicting millions of women across the developing world.
Sometimes it is not possible to cure a patient with fistula. We have to prepare her psychologically.
Revealing the human stories behind fistula and its intimate connection to poverty. A powerful new series exploring global maternal health. Birthrights, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Fighting on the latest Libyan frontline, both pro- and anti-Gaddafi forces claim they control oil-rich Brega. Hello, I'm Arund Naidu. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. Also on the program, as tens of thousands of people scramble to get out of Libya, the United Nations appeals for help to keep them safe. The U.S. Army slaps 22 new charges on the soldier accused of providing thousands of secret documents to WikiLeaks. And 2 U.S. servicemen are killed after a gunman opens fire at a German airport. It's just gone 5 o'clock in the morning in Libya, where the conflict between those opposed to Muammar Gaddafi and those loyal to him rages on. The country's leader has given yet another public address, arguing the situation is being spun out of control. Gaddafi is also warning against foreign intervention and has vowed to fight until the last man. But his forces don't appear to be having much success. On Wednesday, there was a fierce fight in the strategic port town of Brega between forces loyal to Gaddafi and opposition fighters. Both sides say they now control the area. Brega has a large oil refinery, which is apparently still held by anti-Gaddafi forces. Those forces got a much-needed boost from the town of Benghazi, which is the epicenter of the uprising in the east of the country. Gaddafi's forces also raided an arms dump in the city of AlJazeera, which is also under opposition control. In addition to its control in the east, the opposition also controls the towns of Zawiya and Musrata near the capital, Tripoli. We understand that Muammar Gaddafi has spoken to Hugo Chavez of Venezuela and agreed to a mediation plan. Let's cross straight now to our correspondent, Dima Khatib, in the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, for the details. Dima, what do you have there?
Right, Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez spoke to Muammar Gaddafi and proposed the idea of forming a peace commission for Libya to him. And I'm told by a government source that Muammar Gaddafi has accepted the proposal. And after that, Hugo Chavez asked his foreign minister to call Amr Moussa, the Secretary General of the Arab League. And I am told that Amr Moussa has accepted that proposal as well. The Venezuelan government, I'm told, is in touch with several Arab countries as well as countries in South America and groups such as ALBA and the Union of South American Nations and possibly other countries elsewhere to make this proposal a concrete idea with a commission, as President Chavez had proposed, to go to Libya and mediate between the Libyan government and the representatives of the rebels to reach a pacific exit, a pacific outcome to the conflict in Libya at the moment.
Dima, we know that the Venezuelan leader is a close ally of Colonel Gaddafi, but is he giving, or is his government giving, any details on how this mediation effort will take place? For instance, on the one hand, he'll be talking to Colonel Gaddafi. Who will he be talking to as far as the opposition is concerned?
Yeah, that is a very good question. I'm afraid I don't have an answer to that. The only thing we know is that Gaddafi has accepted. I don't know if the Venezuelan government has been in touch with the other side yet. And I think there are quite a few more details to elaborate before we can say if this is going to work or not. But the fact that the Arab League has accepted it, I think it gives it quite a big push. And let's not forget, I mean, President Chavez has showed his full support to Gaddafi as a friend and has doubted even the news of massacres committed in Libya, said that media is exaggerating and the U.S. is exaggerating what's happening in Libya to justify an invasion for Libya's oil. And therefore, I think it puts him in a position where maybe he might be able to influence Gaddafi because of this very close friendship, and maybe talk him into a sort of a compromise. Not sure what kind of compromise, but maybe that's the idea behind the whole thing because of this close relationship.
Okay, thanks, Dima. Dima Khatib there with that breaking news out of Venezuela on the mediation efforts that are being proposed by the Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez to reach some kind of a mediation in Libya. We'll have lots more details on that story as we get it here at Al Jazeera. Meanwhile, thousands of Gaddafi supporters gathered on Wednesday in his stronghold Tripoli. They chanted pro-Gaddafi slogans as they gathered in the city's Green Square. The rally came as the Libyan leader gave yet another lengthy speech, lasting 3 hours this time, again vying to hang on to power. He also lashed out at the West for interfering and warned that thousands of Libyans will die if US and NATO forces intervene in the conflict. Now, that happened as Muammar Gaddafi once again publicly defended himself. Addressing journalists, he played on Western fears by comparing Libya to Somalia.
If Libya doesn't exist anymore, then there will be destruction in the Mediterranean. The gas pipes that pass through the region will be destroyed, and so will the electrical power connection, and bin Laden, the pirates, and the Somalis will come, and the jihad will move from the north of Africa to Europe.
Now, interestingly, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton made the same comparison while addressing the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
We don't know the outcome of this. We don't know these players. You know, we faced a similar situation in the Balkans where there were many, many reasons why it was not viewed with favor that we would set up a no-fly zone for a lot of the similar reasons, the difficulty of it, the maintenance of it, the appearance of it. And eventually it was determined that it was in the interests of the peace and stability of the region, et cetera. I think that we are a long way from making that decision. One of our biggest concerns is